Hectic.
Welcome back to it, you guys. You are still tuned in to Hectic 99. Now, this week on the show, we're all about, love, and especially today, we'll be focusing on respecting your body and also your body image and making sure that we always maintain those important values when it comes to our body image, because society often dictates the way we should look, and we end up succumbing to following all these unhealthy behavioral patterns, you guys. And joining us today, we have Ruth as well as Marcel, who will be helping us unpack this issue of, eating disorders among young people. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. So I want to know from you, Ruth, since you have, come out of an eating disorder and you are in a better place today, how did that affect you, and what is it that triggered your eating disorder?
I think with eating disorders, the biggest thing is wanting to have control. So for me, my life was completely out of control. So my parents had just divorced. My brother had a very serious eating disorder, anorexia.
Oh, wow.
I was really struggling in school with bullying and so on. So my life felt completely out of control. And the one thing I felt I could control was my body and my weight. So all of my energy went into that, and it became a complete obsession and compulsion. And that's all I could focus on. And the whole thing is like I was my body. So I didn't think of myself as a person, like an individual. It was just everything was focused on my body.
Okay, so Marcel, can you talk to us a bit more about the different types of eating disorders that are there? Because I'm sure some people may be suffering from something, but they don't even know it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many various degrees of eating disorders. The obvious ones are the anorexia, bulimia, and then there's also overeating, which is something that people don't see always as an eating disorder, but overeating to suppress your emotions is definitely eating disorder. You also find things like orthorexia, which is all about only eating healthy foods. And then you also have those ones that don't have names, whether it's looking in the mirror and seeing yourself as a plump person where you're actually really skinny, so that body dysmorphia that you don't always see what's reality. And even just the basic obsession around food or around the way you look or around what you think people are thinking about you, that in itself is an eating disorder as well.
Sure. Okay, now Ruth, I want to know from you, what was it that helped you make the switch from, allowing this to control your world to where you are today?
I think I'll just explain my eating disorder a little bit. So I am bulimic, so throwing up, and then also an over-exerciser. Okay. And it got to a stage where I was throwing up maybe 10 times a day. Whoa. I was exercising, going to gym as it opened for 2 hours, then going to school, coming back, going to gym for another 2-3 hours, and then going for like a 10-15K run afterwards. So the over-exercise and the bulimia became really, really intense, and obviously there were massive consequences. There are huge consequences on your body from acting out, and it just became, and emotionally and everything, my whole life was consumed by it, and it got to a point where I really needed help, and I reached out, and I was lucky to get help and go to treatment and turn things around.
Yeah. Now, Ruth mentioned the consequences that come with these eating disorders. Can you mention some of them so that, it can create awareness for our viewers?
Well, there's always the physical consequences and then the mental consequences. The physical you can kind of deal with. It's much easier to tackle, where the mental ones are those ones that take really long to get over. So the physical, you'll have all different types of things depending on what your eating disorder is. It could be severely underweight. It could be problems because of throwing up. You could have your teeth rotting. You could have severe ulcers in your throat. The bulimia also can cause heart attacks. So those are quite severe problems that you can suffer from. The ones that I really struggled with was the mental stuff. I mean, having to deal with the way that you can hate yourself, hate your body, hate everything that you do, and really have a very low self-esteem. That is very difficult to deal with. And so many different mental things will come along, what are other people thinking of me? Am I perfect? Am I doing this right? Do I look great? And those are the big ones to deal with.
Yeah. Now, I want to mention a story that's actually out there right now, whereby an 18-year-old French former model was on a diet of only 3 apples a day for several months. And what happened was that she actually started getting more jobs as she was losing more weight, and it was a very unhealthy weight loss situation. So what do you think what kind of effect do you think this has on our society when people start thinking like this?
I totally understand what she's gone through. You know, in my anorexia stages, most days I only lived on half apple for breakfast and half an apple for lunch.
Whoa.
And those rewards that I'm only allowed to go out the house if I've eaten only half an orange. And so I understand what she's gone through. And the sad thing is, the reality out there is that the media and the society really tells you that the skinnier you are, the better you are.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, most of the modeling industry wants you to be stick thin, and this is obviously why she got more work as she went along. Unfortunately, you know, if you had to go look into her life, it's not a life to live.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you have great work and you're this beautiful model out there when you're inside really torn up and you don't have a life. So that's something that society needs to work on, is accepting people just for who they are. They don't have to be any different size or weight.
Okay, so what are the different channels that our viewers can access if they feel that they may be struggling with an eating disorder?
I think there are two sort of avenues. There's obviously paid for treatment. That there are a number of facilities in Cape Town and Joburg that treats eating disorders specifically. And then what's really nice is the 12-step program and the different groups that are available to people struggling with eating disorders. So there's Overeaters Anonymous, which has a number of groups. There's also Eating Disorders Anonymous, which also has groups in Cape Town. And also, if you go onto their sites, there's a lot of help to questions and stuff that you can ask about, even just finding out if you have an eating disorder. So I think the 12-step program is a major support for a lot of people, and it's completely free. So that's it's been a massive tool in my recovery and really, really helped me. So I think that's good to know.
Okay, I think we should actually check out some of the questions that our viewers have online. Samora, what's happening?
Yes, guys, we do have your questions right now. We're about to read them. We do have Iyo Nantuli saying #MyHecticHeart. What are risks of overweight and obesity? So let's pose the question to our guest.
Okay, Marcel, do you want to take that one on? What are the risks of overweight and suffering from obesity?
So as I earlier said, you know, you get different varies of eating disorders, and obviously the one could be being overweight. This might be an overeating problem. It could be severe underweight, and where we have to look at, there are risks being overweight, there are risks being underweight.
True.
But what we in an eating disorder recovery try to find is that happy medium, where you don't have to worry that you're overweight, you don't have to worry that you're underweight. Finding that balance that works for you.
Okay, cool. Let's check out some more questions online.
All right, we do have a question from Bruce Lee Mabruza saying #MyHecticHeart. What are the risks of less weight? So what are the risks of actually being underweight?
Okay, should we cover that one? But I feel you've
It's
sort
pretty
of answered
similar,
it.
yes.
Is there another questions more that we can check out?
No, apart if you want to answer this one. No, Ziyabonga says, why is it that whenever I try to open my mouth, my jaw locks? Like I can't open my mouth wide enough, especially when I yawn. It becomes a problem when I eat because I can't even chew properly. Eating an apple is a painful job. Should he be worried? Should he be worried that he can't eat properly? Should he go and see someone? Guessing that eating is not an enjoyable experience for him anymore. What happens when you don't enjoy eating anymore? Should he go and see someone about his jaw so he can enjoy it?
Okay, so Marcel, our viewer is saying that there's something wrong with his jaw, and he's ending up not enjoying food anymore. So do you think that he should see a doctor or see someone?
Yeah, absolutely. If it's a medical problem, you know, then you should always seek help from a doctor. If it's basically related to you not enjoying food, then that might be a start of an eating disorder because you're losing the joy in what food should give you. But if it's physical, definitely see a doctor about it.
Okay.
Hectic.